Hi, my name is Beth Hiley.
And this is Katherine Roseland.
And we are with Board Game Geek, and we are standing in front of the front door, where I'm sure you can see the rather substantial crowd that is waiting to get in. This is probably the busiest day of Spieltag.
Yeah, and this is probably the main entrance, kind of, to this section of the Messe.
So we're going to do a very quick... And it is Saturday.
It's Saturday.
Yeah, look, you can tell it's Saturday because we can't talk anymore.
Third day of the actual Messe, but our fourth day on air and fifth day being here.
Yeah. So we're going to do a very quick walk around of Hall 3, which is where some of the biggest publishers are. So let's go. So one of the things that's notable here with Hall 3 is that if John can pan upwards for a second, that there is a lot of stuff above our heads because this is the biggest hall with the biggest booths.
Yeah, you can see right here, as we like to call them, Phasmo Days of Wonder. A large group over there, a large group of published. Help me.
Where are we walking?
Where are we walking? We're walking that way, I think.
You got girl.
There we go. So this is like a group of publishers that have come together, and they just have kind of claimed this entire corner of the hall. And as we move along, you can see more of the bigger publishers and the German ones. We've got Spiel over there. We've got Cosmos behind us. Yeah.
So one of the things that is really different with this space than we see in American conventions like Origins or Gen Con is that there is, and we've mentioned this before, that there is no dedicated play space here at Spieltag. That all the dedicated play space is in the booth.
Yeah, it's all just kind of testing out the games and showing them off. And most of them will actually sell their games, but some don't at all. You can only test them and you have to try to find them on your own.
But part of the booth is the experience, so they tend to go over the top here in Hall 3.
Right behind John. They make these gorgeous like little displays and large versions of games. So you can things that are fun for kids, especially this one here is Haba. They make a lot of kids games, and so they'll usually set up larger versions of their games to kind of appeal to the kids.
And Haba just actually made it over to the American conventions with a rather modest, I think, like 20 by 30 foot booth. And here they are one of the dominant players here in Hall 3 because they are originally a German company. So we also find that there's dedicated stores like here at HCM, which shows up every year, which is basically like literally a game store in the middle of Hall 3.
Where you can get a hold of a lot of the copies of games that you might not be able to buy directly from the publishers, or, just German versions of things, but some of them will have English versions as well, but mostly German.
And I think it's worth saying something that we are walking around this before the hall is open. You can see there's a pretty decent amount of foot traffic in here. And it gives you an idea of the amount of manpower that is required. I know, which is why, and we're also having to really make John work to keep up with us because it takes so long to walk through this hall that in the efforts of trying to keep this video to about 5 minutes, we're really making him book it. So if anyone wants to know if it's hard to walk and talk at the same time, yes.
See, here we have one of the American ones, Hasbro, right? Big booth they've got this year. They've kind of gradually gotten bigger and bigger.
I was just going to say, they've had a growing presence over the last couple of years.
We got Pegasus Spiele, which is one of the larger German ones, which has a pretty big booth and a pretty decent sales section, and they do a lot of German versions of other games, right?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, a lot of them are picked up by a variety of U.S. companies back in the States. So I think this is a really good example of the size of a play space. Well, John is panning through Mega Civ just because it's Mega Civ. We're going to pause for a moment to take out that this is maybe what you might see in one of the play halls in Gen Con is here right in the middle, smack dab of Hall 3.
But now, you can only play games that are from Pegasus Spiele in this booth. And then as you see the next booth, there's a yellow booth right here, and they have a similar kind of a play area, but again, only games from yellow you can play there.
Now, the other thing we thought was really different between the American conventions and this one is that these huge booths with these massive setups are board game companies, tabletop, cardboard, and wooden bits.
And that's one of the things you were telling me earlier. I mean, I haven't actually been to Gen Con, but you said a lot of the largest booths will be, computer game companies or whatnot. We barely have any kind of presence like that here at all.
Well, and they really differentiate between the different halls, which is part of the reason why we're doing individual videos like this. This is board games only. I mean, purely. Now this is Spieltag, mit comic action, but all that comic action is in a different hall.
Yeah.
This is 100% almost. There's a couple dexterity guys in here.
And a couple more things that are a little more like toys, like you see here in this booth, but they'll usually have some kind of gaming aspect with them no matter what.
But over 95% here is pure big players in the board game industry. And we've now reached the opposite corner of Hall 3, and I'm not kidding, we're kind of out of breath.
Here we are, I have to say. It takes a while to get through here.
So we'll pause for a minute, kind of looking up along the long breadth of here.
Down there.
Yep, so if you can see, that's the other end. Past that Queen's game sign is about, it's still another third.
Yeah.
No, it's about another third past that. So,
Yeah.
that is the very large Hall 3. And that is it for our very fast walk around of it. Hope you guys kept up with us.
Yeah.
Hope we kept up with us. And we'll see you in a bit.
Thank you. See you guys. Sorry about